It's preparing. It'll be about 5 seconds. Let me make sure it's working. You're good to go, man.
Good afternoon, council and people watching.
It's preparing. It'll be about 5 seconds.
Okay. I'll now call the City Council special remote meeting to order and remind everyone to please identify yourself anytime you speak. And there will be a roll call taken after each vote. I'll now take the roll call of those present. Mayor Pro Tem Anderson.
I'm sorry,
He
I
was
was
here,
muted. I'm present.
Okay. Councilmember Gordon.
Gordon here.
We'll come back with, okay. Councilmember James.
Here.
Councilmember Carr.
Councilmember Carr is present.
Good. Councilmember Kazai.
Lynn, you're muted.
We're working on it. Bruce is getting him unmuted.
Okay. Councilmember Thompson.
Councilmember Thompson is here.
Okay. We're still waiting on Kazai. He was there earlier.
Member Kazar is present.
Okay. Very good. First item this afternoon is we'll recognize Deborah Reed to introduce the item about healthcare and the cafeteria plan for fiscal year 2022-2023. Deborah, if you would, please.
Yes, Deborah Chestnut Reed, Director of Human Resources. Good afternoon, Mayor Pro Tem, council members. I would like to introduce to you two of our guests. One of them will be Mark Browder from Mark III, who will be talking to you about our renewal expectations. And we will want to listen closely because we'll need approval to move forward with this tonight. And then I have a presentation, an executive summary concerning our wellness program that will be presented by Piedmont Pharmaceutical Network team. And that's just for an update on how our wellness program is doing. So at this point, I will turn it over to Mark Browder.
Hey, this is Mark Browder, and I appreciate your time today to review the medical plan performance. Overall, it's a great message that we have today. I think you're going to be very pleased with the result of the meeting. And Pete, if you could go to slide number 2, please. Okay. So slide number 2, basically, so for 22-23, it's a great renewal. We don't have any funding increase expectation at all. The plan for 2021 ran really well. There's a tick up in claims in 21-22. And actually, since I gave you this presentation, and the claims have actually improved off the 12%. So it continues to go in the right direction for the current plan year. But 2021 is offsetting the claims for the current year. And based on that, for 22-23, we see no need to increase funding for the health plan, which is great news. Obviously, last year we had an increase, as was the prior year as well. Just as a reminder, there was a bid process that was performed for the current plan year that we're in, and the incumbent, which is Tucker Administrators, was retained as your health plan administrator. We also made some program changes. We added a couple of pharmacy plans. One was low clinical value to help remove medications that weren't effective and were way beyond the cost that was necessary. And also we put in a manufacturer coupon program, which allowed for the city to gain additional dollars for some of the high cost especially medications. And it's been very quiet on both programs, so things have gone well in the programs that we implemented. If you
I'm
go
sorry,
to
this
the next
Councilwoman
slide.
James, this Councilwoman James, sorry to interrupt. There's nothing showing on the screen. Is there something that we should be seeing on the screen?
Yes,
Uh,
Pete was pulling it up for us. I'm not sure what's happening. I was getting ready to call him. Hey, Pete.
Thank you.
This is Pete Hovannik. Is anybody seeing that now?
No,
No,
No.
This is Councilwoman Thompson. Now, I am getting by my phone, but I also have my iPad pulled up, and I pulled up the packet, and I can see what you're talking about, but I'm doing it differently.
yeah, it's exact information in the packet, but we were just trying to make sure everyone could see it on the screen.
I understand.
Yeah. If we can't get it up and running, does everyone have their packet in front of them?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, well, maybe we can move forward with just looking at the packet. I'm not sure what's happening because we're running this internally from the city, so we're not sure what's happening here at this point.
Screen share.
Mark,
yes, ma'am.
I think most people have their packet, so I would just kind of move on with the presentation at this
Sure.
point.
Okay, will do. So the information I just reviewed was on page number 2. If you go to your next page, which is 3, this is the claims data for the 2021 plan year. And I just want to sort of talk about the very bottom of the screen. And in the bottom right-hand corner, the plan was in a positive position, about $400,000, and the claims had trended down about 16 to 17%. And that's when it says change of 83.16. Even or no change would be at 100%. So a number below 100%, in this case, 83.16, is an improvement in claims. If it went higher, if it was at, say, 110%, or on the next slide, we'll show 111, 112, that means that claims actually went up. So in the plan year 2021, overall performance was really positive. Claims went down. On slide number 4, it has 21, 22 at the top, and it shows the claims information through November of the current plan year. And I highlighted in red that the change was 111.88, which is actually an increase of about 12%. The December claims came in after the packet was delivered to you, and it's actually improved. It's actually the increase in claims trend is actually only about 9% now, so it's improved by about 3%. So that's a positive trend. And in the current, from a budget perspective, the plan is in a positive position, which is why those 2 years combined, 11, 12, the current year, and then 10, 11, correction, 2010, correction, 2021 was in a positive position, and it's going to lend us in a good position for no increase for the current year. If you go to slide 5, these are high claimants for 2021-22 for that plan year, and oncology or cancer continues to be a significant challenge. The city has done a tremendous job on the wellness side of helping to either maintain or improve employee health, and that is why you're not seeing diabetes as a leading driver at the high claim level, renal failure, and other significant health issues where your driver primarily is oncology or cancer. So the last slide I have is slide 6. And so just to reiterate, for 22-23. No plan design changes are recommended. No employee premium contributions are changing as well. And as Deborah mentioned, for open enrollment, we're looking for an approval so that we can move forward on a keep the good schedule that we've had in the past for open enrollment. Any questions of me at all?
So to sum it all up, is our plan that we had last year would be the same as going forward for 2023 with no changes in the cost for it or the plan design, just to kind of get to the bottom line. And so what we'll need approval on is moving forward with the current plan that we have for the 2023 and giving the interim city manager authority to approve any of the documents that we have to process in making this happen. And also, we're currently using Tucker Administrator that went out for bid and trying to get approval to continue the process as it is today.
Thank you, Mark, and thank you, Deborah. Any questions for either one? If not, I'm sorry.
I would like to commend the HR for a job well done in this environment. To be able to give a report like that is outstanding.
All right. Thank you, Lynn. Be sure and identify yourself when you do make a comment, please.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Very
Councilman,
good. We know. Do we have a motion to approve the renewal expectation options of the health and cafeteria plans and
So
approve
moved.
Tucker to administer the plans and authorize the city manager to execute any and all documents?
Councilman Carr makes that recommendation and motion.
Councilman Thompson seconds the motion.
I'm not sure for the record, who made the second, please?
Councilman Kazar second.
Councilmember Thompson.
Doesn't matter.
I think we ran together.
Hey,
All right,
Julie.
2 seconds then.
Hey,
All right, I will do a roll call in all those. Mayor Anderson,
Anderson votes yes.
Gary, is that you? I had a difficulty hearing. Did you say yes?
Anderson votes yes.
Okay, Councilmember Gordon,
Yes.
Councilmember James,
Yes.
Councilmember Carr,
Yes.
Councilmember Kazai,
Yes.
Councilmember Thompson,
yes.
and the mayor votes yes also. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Next up is the Helms Park Stormwater update.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I think
Sorry,
Chris
I have-
Costner is going to present.
I'm sorry, Mayor.
Oh, I'm sorry. We got to be more.
That's okay. I
I'm
have
sorry.
one more
Go ahead.
guess. This is just a summary of how the wellness plan actually performed on our last year and how our employees are doing that helped our benefits plan. So Jessica Bridges will just cover a few items just to let you know what our critical areas are and the areas that we're doing well in. Jessica?
Sure. Thank you so much, Deborah. Good afternoon, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, and city manager. My name is Jessica Bridges, and I serve as the on-site biometric screening coordinator and scheduling support for the annual screening events, as well as the health promotion coordinator for PPCN. And as you see on the screen there, PPCN is an independent third-party contractor providing care management services since the early 2000s. Services include chronic condition management, known under the brand name of Health Map RX, biometric screenings, of course, group health classes, health coaching, which we also deliver to city participants, and pharmacy claims reviews. So PPCN, in partnership with eHealth Screenings, has delivered screening services for the city of Monroe over the past 2 years. And next slide, please. This is the City of Monroe annual participation since 2016. The annual biometric screening event took place over 6 days in October 2021. And this slide outlines the annual participation of 506 for the past year. As you can see, the numbers for the past 2 years, 2020 and 2021, are consistent with close to 89% of eligible members participating. National participation averages vary a bit, just depending on the study, but those typically fall in the 70 to 80% range for those employers offering financial incentives, such as an insurance premium incentive or discount. So I can confidently state that the City of Monroe participation surpasses the reported national average numbers. And as communicated in the initial biometric information that is emailed to eligible members, participation in the City of Monroe Wellness Program is voluntary, meaning individuals have choices, and results are protected under HIPAA. So data is reported aggregately in a non-identifiable approach. Next slide, please. The next 2 slides actually outline the screening demographics. So the percentage of male participation is 65.4% as compared to female at 34.6%. And this is generally indicative of the city employee pool. Next slide. The average male age is 42, while the average female age is 44. Overall, the average age screened is 43 years old. The male participation percentage went down by 4% from the prior year, while the female participation percentage went up by 4%. This could really be attributed to a variety of factors, perhaps a slight shift just in the eligible group makeup, considering new hires, retirees, and terminations from October 2020 to October 2021. Next slide, please. This slide indicates achievement percentages for both the premium incentive and the $250 weight waste incentive, which is available to employees only. So the premium incentive is achieved through allocated points based on biometric results or through one of 2 possible alternative achievement methods. So 84.4% of participants achieved the premium incentive, up 2.4% from 2020, while 74.3% achieved the waste weight incentive, roughly the same percentage as 2020. So 430 employees participated in 2020 versus 421 in 2021. This incentive is achieved through a waist measurement of less than 35 inches for females, less than 40 inches for males, or through an improvement of at least 5% from the prior year in either weight or waist. Particularly encouraging is the raw number of individuals achieving the premium incentive in 2021, which was 427 as compared to 414 in 2020. Next slide. The next 2 slides indicate trending in high-risk ranges for 8 metrics. Here we'll start at the top left. We see waist circumference of greater than or equal to 35 for females, greater than or equal to 40 for males, remaining flat since 2019, but down 12% overall since 2016. Moving to the top right, hypertension, Stages 1 and 2, which is of course high blood pressure, is trending down from the prior year, 39% versus 46%, and down 13% since 2016. Now, pinpointing the exact causes of these changes, these trends can be a bit challenging, but in general, some positive lifestyle changes or habits may be attributed. Nutrition, physical activity, stress management, etc. And of course, medication for blood pressure management could also be a factor. Moving to the bottom left, elevated blood sugar indicated by an A1C of 5.7 or greater has gone up 6% from the prior year and 8% overall since 2016. COVID may play a role in this glucose trending. So considering changes to schedule, work environment, habits, resulting in changes in nutrition, physical activity, eating patterns, etc., that could very well be the case. And then the bottom right, tobacco use, so testing positive for nicotine cotinine has remained flat since 2017. Next slide, please. And this is the second slide of the high risk trending. So here at the top left, total cholesterol of greater than 200 has increased by 2% from the prior year and 10% overall in the past 5 years. So certainly a trend we're watching. In the top right, the HDL, the good or healthy cholesterol, has trended downward by 2% from 2021 and down 7% since 2016. So this is a case where that downward trending is actually a positive. Essentially, more individuals have a good cholesterol value greater than or equal to 40, and that's the positive trend. Bottom left, the LDL, this is the quote unquote bad or lousy cholesterol, the threshold greater than or equal to 130. This follows the same overall trend as you can see as the total cholesterol, up 5% from the prior year and 13% over the past 5. And finally, the bottom right, triglycerides, a type of fat in the blood, greater than or equal to 150 has decreased by 2% from the prior year and 3% overall since 2016. And this certainly is a positive trend as well. So of note is the timing of increase in high risk for both total cholesterol and LDL. So the two on the left, again, implications from living during a pandemic could be playing out here. And also calling back to the previous slide, high glucose levels can contribute to other health conditions, including high cholesterol. So we're watching that trend, of course. Next slide. So in summary, to highlight the areas of success since 2016, the high-risk group for waist circumference, blood pressure, good cholesterol, and triglycerides has decreased. And next slide, to highlight the areas of focus since 2016, the high-risk group for glucose, total cholesterol, and LDL, the bad cholesterol, has increased. So of note here, the majority of those in the high-risk group for glucose are in the pre-diabetes range with A1C, and that's where prevention from transitioning to diabetes is still a possibility. Health coaching or even condition management services could potentially be helpful here if that could be managed through lifestyle change. Next slide. This slide outlines participation in health coaching as an alternative achievement method to achieve the premium incentive. So in early 2020, the first quarter, 36 individuals participated, with 18 qualifying for 1 session and 18 others qualifying for 2 to 4 sessions, and that's based on total wellness points. Also, 44% of those in health coaching who participated in the 2021 biometric event actually achieved the incentive premium. So 16 of the 18, and 2 of those individuals did not participate in this past year's biometric event. Next slide. Just a bit of further explanation on the health coaching results. So this really illustrates the potential effectiveness of coaching. The areas of improvement in 2021 are highlighted in green for those 18 individuals who participated in the health coaching option in 2020. And of note here, reduction in A1C by 0.3 of a point, so 6.4 to 6.1 is significant, as is improving by at least 5 wellness points overall from 51 to 56. Next slide. And this is a brief summary of the health risk assessment highlights. So the health risk assessment, or HRA, collects self-reported information that evaluates lifestyle factors and health risk of an individual. So in 2021, the HRA was completed electronically at the time of registration or on paper on site if a walk-in. So in the stress mental health category, stress affected life very infrequently or never for 72.3% of respondents. Jobs were stressful very infrequently or never for 62% of respondents. And depression was felt very infrequently or never for close to 90% of the respondents. And in the satisfaction category, 94.5% of respondents reported being happy with jobs and 98.2% with life, friends, and family. So overall, happy to report these statistics indicate a mentally healthy, personally satisfied reporting population. Next slide. In the exercise habits and nutrition category, 55.9% reported exercising at least 3 times a week. And just a note that a membership subsidy is available for the Monroe Aquatics and Fitness Center. So there is some incentive here, and we see probably these higher percentages maybe due in part to that. And 73.5% reported following sensible eating habits most of the time or all of the time. That word sensible can maybe be left up to interpretation, but a good report nonetheless. And next slide, please. And this is the final slide here. The results of the 2021 participant survey is reported on this last slide. So the survey is voluntary, but highly encouraged and is completed on-site post-screening. So 264 individuals, just over 50%, completed the survey. The questions poll various aspects of the screening event, but the first one at the top, I know that print may be quite small, is overall experience. Overall, how satisfied were you with the health screening experience? And per the color key and percentages at the bottom, 99.2% of respondents reported satisfied or above. So thank you so much for the opportunity this afternoon to present this information. And thank you to Deborah and the HR team for being such willing, helpful partners as we provided the screening event in October.
Thank you, Jessica.
Jessica, we thank you very much. And also, Mark, thank you for your fine presentation earlier. Deborah, is there anything you'd like to add to that?
Thank you.
Only that our employees are doing very well and is showing in our premiums of our health plan. So that is the way it's really supposed to work. So we're excited about that. And thank you all on council that support the programs.
Thank you. I didn't mean to jump the gun there a while ago.
No, that's okay.
Because that was very, very impressive, Jessica. And it's to see the satisfaction rates is very encouraging. So that's That's a wonderful thing to see.
Thank you,
Now we'll
Mayor.
ask Chris if he will introduce the Helms Park Stormwater update, please.
Oh, sorry. Can we go to full screen mode on this one? So we won't see my slides on the side.
Okay, I've got your full screen here.
Okay. I guess for me, I just see my slides on the side there. So, good afternoon, Mayor and City Council members. Chris Cosner, is stormwater engineer for the City of Monroe. I'm here to talk about the Helms Park stormwater issues, more mainly around Medland Drive from Ruth Helms' concern she presented a few weeks back. Next slide. A little history along Medland Drive. The phone calls and conversations we've had with people in the area. Channel erosion at 2001 or 2200 Medland Drive in December 1998, and then yard flooding 2207 Medland Drive in 2003. Channel erosion 2207 Medland Drive. Yard flooding 2201 Medland Drive in June 2010. House flooding at 2207 Medland Drive. And more recently, yard flooding at 2201 Medland Drive. Next slide. The drainage area is about 59 acres to the driveway pipe at 2209 Medland Drive. What the red line there you see is about approximately the drainage area, what flows down through there. Miss Ruth Ham lives at 2207 Medland Drive. She has about 38 acres of runoff flowing through her yard. Next slide. Here's some pictures that we got from the property owner at 2207 Medland Drive, and this is from 2006 August. You can see the front yard flooding. Next slide. And more recently, about 2 years ago, some yard flooding at Miss Ruth Helms' property at 2201 Medland Drive. This is her front yard, upstream side of her driveway. Next slide. This is downstream of her driveway. You can see a little bit in the background there, the driveway at 2207 Medland Drive. Next slide. History of drainage improvements we made in the area. We regraded the drainage ditch at 2201 and 2207 Medland Drives. We replaced the driveway pipe under Medland Road. It was just in poor shape, so we ended up replacing the same size, same material. And then we replaced the driveway pipe at 2201 Medland Drive. It was corrugated metal, the bottom was rusted out, so we replaced it with same pipe size, but different material. And then in May of 2016, we went down below 2209 Medland Drive and removed some blockages that were reported to us. There was like gate fence, debris caught on trees and stuff. And then August 2016, we replaced two pipes. One was a 12-inch corrugated metal, and one was a 36-inch corrugated metal. Of course, failing, undersized, and we replaced them with two 36-inch polyethylene pipe. And then most recently, but this month, we actually went down below 2209 Medland Drive and did some channel repairs where there was an erosion going on. Next slide. This picture I want to show is the front yard looking upstream of 2207 Medland Drive, where they're talking about the flooding of the house. If that red line goes from the finished floor all the way across the front yard, and you look to your left there, you can see about where the channel's at. So the finished floor elevation of that building is almost at top of channel, and the front yard is very flat. Next picture. Like the drainage system in the area, the driveways consist of corrugated metal, polyethylene pipes, corrugated metal pipe, or polyethylene pipe, and a 54-inch corrugated metal pipe at 2209 Medland Drive. roadside ditches is the whole drainage area pretty much consists of roadside ditches. There is a small drainage system that comes off of Wilson Avenue that drains down to Medland Drive into 2207 Medland Drive. The ditches in 2207 and 2209 Medland Drive, it's about 2 foot wide and about 1.5 feet deep. One's vegetated and the other one is riprap. And like I said, the 2207 Medland Drive, it is prone to flooding because it's very flat in the front yard. The channel's really not wide enough. So during big storm events, it will flood. Next picture. And this is a picture showing you the drainage system in the area. Like I said, from Wilson Avenue, north of Scotts Lane, you see there's a small drainage system. And then the driveway pipe, there's a 54-inch at 2209 Medland Drive, two 36-inch polyethylene pipes at 2207 Medland Drive, and then a 218 and a 24-inch at Miss Ruth Helms at 2201 Medland Drive. Next slide. Pictures of the driveway pipes that I keep talking about. These are all the upstream views of the driveway pipes. Next slide. The drainage ditch that runs in the front yard of Miss Ruth Helms at 2201 Medland Drive and at 2207. Miss Ruth Helms' property is riprap on the upstream side. On the downstream side of 2207 Medland Drive is a vegetated ditch. This is typically what the channel looks like down below 2209 Medland Drive. It's vegetated, some bare spots. It's got a well-defined ditch and nice slopes. A little bit about the city's storm drainage policy. Property owner is responsible for the system which they're a part of. They're responsible for the maintenance and repairs and replacement of the drainage system. We're responsible for what's in the right of way. But we may assist property owners with drainage improvements on the property if they qualify for assistance, which is getting runoff from a public right of way. And that's all depending on the criteria. Next slide, please. So the current things we're doing out there, we have a consultant on call to assist with our stormwater program. So I've got them looking at the driveway pipes down through there. I met with them over a month ago and on another project and mentioned this one to them that I need them to look at it. So we're going to check, see what the current level of service is for these driveways. And proposing maybe looking at see if we can maybe upgrade them to a 25-year storm. Typically, driveway pipes aren't really designed for any certain storm. They just kind of guess. A lot of engineers just guess on one pipe size and they'll upsize them as they go farther downstream. Well, I'm looking for the engineer to give me a recommendation on improvements. Once we get the report, then we'll go ask to get permissions from the property owners to make the repairs or upgrades. And then once we get all the paperwork, then we'll put the work order in and then schedule the work to be done. That's any questions?
Chris, it's Councilwoman James. I want to thank you, commend you for looking into that area because I know it was highly discussed during this past year. So thank you so much for being proactive.
You're welcome.
Chris, this is Marion. I do have a question. The driveway culverts, that's not really contributing to the massive flows of water though, are they? It's the flooding that's occurring. It's not due to the size of the pipes going underneath the driveways. Isn't that correct?
That's correct. It's just volume of water is coming down through there.
Yeah. If anything, it would put more water in there, wouldn't it?
Yes, sir. If there's any development going on upstream, they would increase the volume of water. But because the city has a post-construction requirement, the developers or the builders are required to control the volume of water.
Okay, is there another development streaming into this one in that area you had earlier, the 57 acres?
Just the existing one, sir.
I'm sorry?
Just the existing one, the Helms Park section.
Okay.
I'm not aware of the undeveloped side yet.
Okay, so just over years, the water flow has increased though. Could be due to the yards, maybe the way they've been constructed or something, maybe.
It could be a lot of times here, especially the past couple of years since Hurricane Florence, the ground is just, we've had so much rain. The ground just saturated and can't take the water. So all that water is running off instead of being absorbed into the ground.
Okay, good point. Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions for Chris or ideas,
Yeah.
thoughts?
Yes, Freddie Gordon here. Question to Chris.
Yes, sir.
The last slide and what's going on currently, what you have coming up, planning, and then implementing that. How long does that normally take?
The engineer's going to probably take him a couple months to get finished with his study, and then back and forth us reviewing everything. Then getting the right of entries from the property owners. It depends on the property owners. It could take 2 weeks. It can take a year. It just depends on how they're willing to sign the paperwork for us.
Okay.
So, but on average, we get, I'm sorry.
That's all right. I would just suggest that, you know, once you have that engineering and then once you enter into some communication with the property owner and, you know, maybe at that point we could get a further update as to where this actually lays.
Okay.
Thank you.
So you want to update when we get the all the paperwork complete, or when we go after the paperwork?
Well, when you get to that point of obtaining right of entry from the property owner,
Yes, sir.
if you run into issues there, that's when we need to, you know, I just think we need to know that's who we hear from, the property owner. We sadly don't hear from you that often. So I would like to have some knowledge of where that lies at that point. You're
Okay.
evaluating, you know, you've got an engineer involved. You've gone to a 25-year level. You get recommendations on the driveway improvements. You obtain them, and then when you enter in with the property owner, you know, if they don't go along with it, then, you know, we can stop listening to them. But, you know,
Yeah.
I can't imagine that they would not want to enter into some kind of agreement.
Working with the property owners in this area in the past, they've been pretty responsive real quick with signing the paperwork. I mean, there have been others throughout the city that we've not heard from them in years. But
Right.
these three we've always heard. They've been very responsive and open to improvements.
Right. Since 1999, I get it. And, you know, I like to put it to bed. Yeah. So if you have any issues at that point, I think we ought to hear of them.
Councilmember Thompson, Councilmember Gordon, I agree with you. And I do think these folks are just behind me about 2 blocks. I don't think there'll be any, I agree with you about hearing back from the property owners. And since this is something that's been brought to our attention, and thank you to the mayor for bringing this up today, but I don't think we're going to have any issues with these folks responding. And if we do, I agree with you, Councilmember Gordon, that we should know about that, because we have heard from them quite extensively.
Right. I agree.
Chris, Councilwoman James, once all the paperwork is signed and you got it from the homeowners, how long does the process take after that?
They would have issued a work order right after that. Then this will probably be pushed to a high priority. So we'll schedule with our stormwater maintenance crew. So probably within a couple of months. What's going to be the fun part is, you know, these are these people's driveways, and we're going to have to tear out their driveways, and they still got to get to their property, to their house. So we got to work with them on that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, any other comments or questions for Chris? Thank you again, Chris. Appreciate a very,
Thank y'all for
thorough,
y'all's time.
very well engineered report. Thank you very much. Next up, we'll ask Brian Bourne if he will introduce the next items, please.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. Today, we'll just continue our departmental budget discussions. And I will no longer delay the discussions. We'll begin with human resources. So I'll turn it over to Deborah Reed.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon again. This is Deborah Chestnut Reed, Director of Human Resources. I'll be discussing today personnel needs. We have been challenged as an HR department with ongoing increases in the city employee population, which impacts our limited manpower to better serve and support the demands for service. As the city changes, so does the role of human resources and what's required. Human resources is a business-driven function. The effectiveness depends on thorough understanding of the strategic direction of the city, as well as the ability to influence key policies and decisions to succeed. So the request for additional staff will help to increase the service towards new initiatives and the day-to-day operations. Now, if you look at this slide here, the position that we're looking for is the Human Resources Analyst 1. It will be responsible for all day-to-day human resources activities and provide support to the various departments, new employee orientation, recruitment process, payroll, benefits, open enrollment, etc. The need is a high demand. This position will help decrease the ratio of employees to human resources analysts to a manageable ratio of 100 or less, and help to implement new initiatives as required. The increased demands on human resources and attrition in the next 5 years make success planning critical. We are responsible for making sure that the appropriate resources are in place to serve our employees and citizens in a timely manner. The estimated cost would be for equipment, one-time, non-personnel, is $5,830. Salary benefits is $50,953 for the salary and $26,881 for benefits. The reoccurring annual salary would be the same with any other increases, and benefits $26,881. So that's our requests for personnel. We don't have any other requests, just to make sure that we're able to support all the needs of our department. Are there any questions? Okay, if there are no questions, as you all walk through your process for the budget, just keep us in mind.
Right, thank you, Deborah. And next, we have Parks and Recreation, Ryan Jones, Director. Ryan, I'll turn it over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone's having a great day. Very excited to present our presentation for some of our priority budget needs. You can go ahead and go to the next slide, please. The first item that we're presenting today includes the need for additional funds to cover some increase in costs related to our Parks Maintenance Division. These costs generally go towards repairs and maintenance to park buildings, and those include restrooms and shelters. With the addition of several shelters a few shelters that we've had in different parks, those needs go up, and just also general increase in costs that we're seeing across the board when it comes to repairs and maintenance of these facilities. We want to have enough money in this budget line to address items quickly as it relates to any kind of vandalism issues we have, as well as just normal wear and tear on those facilities. And again, those are related to facilities inside of parks, and those are public bathrooms and shelters mostly. And that increase that we're asking for is an increase of $2,000. And the total cost for obviously for the first year will be $2,000 and no recurring annual costs after that. Next slide, please. The next would be an increase in vehicle maintenance funds in the Parks Maintenance Division. I'm sure everyone is aware of the leaf trucks that we have on a rotation that pick up everyone's leaves every fall. These funds will be utilized for the repair and maintenance of parks maintenance of leaf trucks. Our current budget is $15,000. We've had repairs to our computer systems that really control the back motor of the leaf trucks and the leaf truck bed, as well as the arms. That if one of those goes out, that's a pretty significant cost. That we had one go out this year at $9,200. So with the technology associated with that equipment and computerized components, those cost increases are becoming more common. So we would request an increase of $10,000 in that budget line. Total cost input the first year would be $10,000 with no annual recurring cost. Next slide, please. Next slide. It's not changing on my screen. I don't know if it's changing for y'all.
8.
Hold on 1 second, please.
Sure.
Thank you.
This is Pete Hovanek. We're tag teaming this. Lisa Strickland is helping to share her screen. So it looks like we had to get out and try and get back in.
Yeah, sorry, my whole screen froze, everything. It's just coming back on.
Just bear with us.
Okay, I'm back. That's the one. That's right there. Moving on. The next slide or item that we like to present is additional funds to update our special events. We're requesting to provide funds to provide additional attractions and the addition of funds for a newly formed event. The Christmas tree lighting and music on Main have been two of our more popular events over the past few years. Very well attended. I think everybody looks forward to the Christmas tree lighting. Everybody looks forward to the band lineup, and we've had a really good turnout for our bands on Music on Main and the Christmas tree lighting, especially this year. Everybody's kind of getting back into the swing of things when it comes to being out in public. But we've received some requests from the public to enhance and expand attractions off of these events. And what we're trying to do as far as the Christmas tree lighting event is to kind of find attractions that are more holiday themed that would kind of add to the overall experience of the participants at that event. And also the addition of some bounce houses at Music on Main and for kids, because what we've heard from people is that we have the bands and the parents love going there, but they like to bring their kids. And sometimes kids don't like to listen to, Motown music. They want to have something else to do. So that might attract the family dynamic more to those Music on Main events when a child has something to do while their parents are there enjoying the concert. And also we offered the Juneteenth Family Fun Festival last year. And we had funds allocated to a movie series last year that we were able to go into partnership with Union County Parks and Recreation Department, where they would provide the movie screen to us. and pretty much take on that cost. So the budgeted amount we had allocated for the movies theater, we were requesting to reallocate that more or less to the Juneteenth festival, and then add an additional $3,000 to that project. And that would allow us to help pay for some of the entertainment for that event, and also to provide some more attractions and such at that festival. The increase to the Christmas tree lighting is requested at an amount of $15,000. Music on Main increase of $5,000, and the Juneteenth Family Fun Festival is addition of $3,000 as a new special event, for a total increase requested of $23,000 for additional funding to upgrade special event attractions. You go to the next slide, please. The next item that we are presenting is the Don Griffin Park restroom renovation. This replacement at Don Griffin Park is a prefabricated restroom, which would include 2 stalls that are all ADA accessible. It would also include a center utility chase and control link for automatic and remote door locks. The control link is a product that allows staff to unlock and lock doors on a schedule or remotely, and we wouldn't be required to give out a code to participants now to unlock those bathrooms, which is required now. Also, the current restroom is old. It's 25 years old or so. We would recommend an upgrade of this facility, and it would also relocate the bathroom from the Don Griffin baseball side across the street and make it closer to the picnic shelter, so participants wouldn't have to cross the street from the playground. Again, it would also enable staff to remotely open and close those restrooms. The price that we were quoted does not include utilities or concrete pad, and we had a contractor quote that for us. The prefabricated bathroom comes in at a cost of $245,000, and the owner provided concrete pad and utilities would be around $30,000. Routine maintenance costs recurring just for general repairs and maintenance would be an extra $1,000 as we move through the future fiscal years. The total cost for that would be $275,000, and that includes the prefabricated bathroom as well as the concrete pad and utilities that we would provide. Next slide, please. The next slide is a Sunset Park renovation. This improvement would include a picnic shelter. It would resurface the basketball courts at Sunset Park. It would also include the addition of a dog park. This park is utilized a lot during our baseball practices for our baseball season. That includes baseball practices and games. We have a playground structure that is relatively new. It's been updated within the 5 years. And for us to provide consistent park amenities throughout every single park, this renovation would include a picnic shelter that looks identical to the ones at Old Armory or Sutton Park or Dickerson that have been added over the past few years. It would also resurface the basketball courts and upgrade those, and then a dog park would also be included in this renovation as a new amenity. The basketball courts are in rough shape, and they've been there for 25 years and are cracking to the point of much needed repair. This renovation, everything included, would be quoted at $250,000, and that is the total cost for the first year. And then we would project a cost of around $1,000 for additional maintenance of the dog park recurring annually. Next slide, please. The next request is artificial turf fields at Parks Williams Athletic Complex. This improvement includes the conversion of the Parks Williams Athletic Complex soccer fields from natural turf to artificial turf. Parks Williams is utilized for a lot of our youth and adult soccer leagues, internal usage related to practices and games. This is internal usage and external usages at that facility. With the amount of play we are receiving on these fields, staff feels this will create a more desirable playing surface and lower the yearly maintenance needs that comes along with natural grass fields. It is also believed this conversion will bring more external leagues and tournaments to this facility. To convert those 2 fields would be $1,985,000. That's for 2 fields. That's not $1.9 million per. It's included for 2 fields. And also, it is recommended that the lifespan of these facilities are 5 to 8 years for replacement, and that comes in at a cost of $400,000. So they recommend, depending on the usage, between every 5 to 8 years that a $400,000 replacement would need to take place there. So the total cost input the first year would be $1,985,000, and a total recurring cost after 5 to 8 years would be $400,000 to replace that turf. Next slide, please. The next slide is amenities for the senior center renovation. As you guys know, as everyone knows, that project is underway. And these funds are requested to provide necessary amenities to the new senior center renovation project. Those amenities in this request include furnishings. Those are just your normal everyday furnishings, as far from office furniture to furniture that the public would use in the lobby, and the meeting rooms, in the activity rooms, in the multi-purpose spaces, just any kind of furniture that would be needed there. And also included in this request is the audio visual equipment, and that will allow staff to provide quality programming opportunities to users. These activities would include fitness classes and general programming opportunities. This equipment also provides amenities to individuals interested in renting the facility for meetings, workshops, and all other types of rentals. So this would be all your AV equipment that we would use to provide programming, as far as music goes, for fitness classes, all the way up to display screens for meeting requests and any type of outside external rental that we would provide. Materials to this facility for furnishings were $101,061.49, and audio visual that quoted at $186,630.92. The total cost to implement the first year to purchase this equipment will be $287,694.41. That would include furnishings and audiovisual equipment for the senior center renovation project. And then the next slide, please. The first personnel request that Parks and Recreation would have would be a lead after school program aide. This position already exists at Dickerson Community Center. But this part-time position will assist community center supervisors in providing after-school programming to the community, as well as assistance with special event planning and coordination at those facilities. The approval of these positions will provide for a more consistent approach to staffing at each community center and provide comparable support to full-time staff in relation to after-school programming. It also allows more efficient usage of positions and defines each role in a more concise fashion. These positions are also more marketable to potential candidates. Funds are currently available for this position through the reallocation of building attendant pool money. The building attendant position remains in need, but the role will be more in line with that particular job description. The salary and benefits of this, and this would include 4 requests. The salary at $11.23 per hour at a salary grade 2 and offers limited benefits. This position is an existing position, and this request includes 4 additional after-school program aides that will be assigned to each community center. The total request includes the annual salary of $11,679.25 per position. It would also include $2,669.75 per position for benefits, and the total cost, including salary and benefits for all 4 positions combined, is $57,396. Next slide, please. On the next personnel request will be a recreation assistant. This is a 20+ part-time position, would assist the athletic special event coordinator with the implementation, supervision, and organization of athletic programs and community-wide special events. Currently, the athletic and special event coordinator is supported by part-time 19-hour field attendants. These attendants assist with the general maintenance and cleaning of facilities and provide on-site assistance of athletic fields during programs and events. The recreation assistant position will provide exclusive support to athletic and special event needs and would assist the athletic and special event coordinator with the implementation and day of operations of athletic programs and special events. This position would be salaried at $11.23 per hour and offers limited salary and benefits. Funding can be reallocated from the existing field attendant pool money to this position and will replace the field attendant position completely. The total request for this one position includes the annual salary of $11,679.25 per position, with benefits of $2,669, and including salary and benefits, the total request would be $14,516. And that concludes our presentation on the budget. Appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to it.
Ms. Councilwoman James, thank you, Ron, for your presentation. Looking forward to some of the new improvements that you mentioned. If you could, please, could you give me the breakdown costs for the improvements you mentioned at Sunset Park about the dog park, the basketball court, and the shelter? What that breakdown is?
I can. Thank you for that question. The estimated cost for a dog park would be approximately $50,000. And that includes fence, water, design, that type of thing. And then the shelter, unfortunately, the price for a shelter has gone up considerably. Those shelters come in at the cost of $141,000 right now. And then as far as to upgrade the basketball courts at Sunset Park, that'll be around $25,000.
Thank you for that. One other question, looking at Dickerson Gym, when you go in there, looking at the walls and stuff, what are we doing with that? So I noticed like they're peeling apart or something with that material that's up there on the walls and stuff.
Yes, ma'am. That's included in our operational budget as a request. It's the insulation board that basketballs get thrown up there, and we're trying to figure out a better material to replace that. So instead of putting something like that back up there and it being damaged again, it's something a little bit more durable that can handle the usage of that facility.
Thank you so much. Doing a great job at Parks and Rec. Greatly appreciate you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Ryan, well, go ahead, Jamie.
Ryan, on the Parks Williams artificial turf request, you mentioned league and tournament enhanced usage. What kind of estimated income could that be bringing in to help defray the cost of that installation and ongoing maintenance?
We would need to establish some contacts, really, as far as it's related to tournaments. We've done a lot of external league play, but tournaments is an opportunity that we would need to dive into a little bit more to figure out exactly what that cost recovery would be. I can get back to you on that.
At this time, we don't have a figure.
No, sir, not as far as the tournaments that we could potentially bring in.
Thank you.
Ryan, we don't currently host tournaments there now, right?
No, the majority of the usage at Parks Williams is our youth leagues, and then we have an adult soccer league that takes place there. And then we also, some of the schools, UA and some other schools utilize the softball fields as well as the soccer field. So really it's a league play, but there is an opportunity for us to utilize those fields for more revenue-based usage.
All right, thank you.
Councilmember Thompson, this is on the Parks Williams Athletic Complex. Ryan, do you have a figure on how much we would save on the yearly maintenance needs if it was converted to artificial turf? Any figures there?
I do not, but I can get some for you.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
But Ryan, James, just I'm understanding, even with the replacement, you're still looking at about $120,000 a year in maintenance that will be required for the artificial turf because of its 60-month lifespan. Is that correct?
With that 5-year maintenance includes it's a projection of the cost that it would take to replace that artificial turf, depending on the usage that it gets between the lifespan of 5 to 8 years. So between that 5 to 8 year lifespan, it would cost $400,000 to replace that turf.
And I'm sure that that's direct correlation to the amount of use it gets. So if it's highly used, we'd be more in the 5-year rather than the 8-year for replacement.
That is correct. And that's the cost now. I can't speak on if that cost will go up in the as costs increase, but that would include the replacement of that turf based on the usage, which could be between 5 and 8 years is what they kind of expect as far as that life expectancy.
All right, thank you. And this is Brian Bourne, interim manager. Sorry, I forgot that earlier, but just to follow up on the Sunset Park, not Sunset Park, the restroom over there at
Don
Pine
Griffin Park.
Griffin. Yeah, that is the little cinder block building that's currently out there, correct? And that's kind of
It
that's
is.
yeah.
It is, and currently how that process works is a renter will call in and we have to give them a code. There's a keypad on the door, and if they lose that number, they're calling us, and it's just it's and a lot of our other parks have that control link, and
Yeah.
there is a safety concern of kids using the shelter and then walking across the parking lot and then across the street because the bathroom is across the street from the actual parking lot and shelter. So we would relocate that bathroom as well as provide control link to that amenity.
And that would include tearing down the
Yes.
current facility if it's rebuilt.
Yes.
Okay. And then the
Councilwoman
other,
James, if I'm Ryan, back to the turf. I know with Indian Trail, as I visit there and stuff, that turf field is highly used, so it'd be a good suggestion just to reach out to them to see how their program's working and what activities they have going on up there.
and Ryan, it's Brian again. The picnic shelters, I know we have two different sizes. The ones you're proposing are the larger ones in these areas?
Yes, the smaller one, it would be the same type of picnic shelter that you see at the newest one, I believe, is either Dickerson or Old Armory in Sutton Park. They would be the 24 by 44 foot dimensions. So they're the larger ones. They're not quite as big as the one at Belt Tonawanda, but they're bigger than they're the 24 foot by 44 foot dimensions.
That's what I figured based on the number. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
If that's all for Ryan, we'll move on to engineering, and I'll turn it over to Sarah McAllister.
Thanks, Brian. Good evening, council and mayor. I'll wait for them to switch out the slides. If you could go to the next slide, please. Our first request is for $10,000 for parking lot maintenance. Engineering was given the responsibility of maintaining all the city-owned non-enterprise fund parking lots, and that's quite a few parking lots, and we would propose to restripe a handful of lots each year and address any patching that needs to take place. Currently, they're not on any schedule, so we just respond as we get requests, but we'd like a little bit of funding to be more proactive in that maintenance. Next slide. This is for additional resurfacing funds. This is a follow-up to the presentation that Kircher Engineering gave once they completed the latest pavement condition survey. They revealed the need for an additional $900,000 over our current budget just to maintain our current condition. I know it's kind of hard to see that graph, but the green line is the current funding. If we were to remain there over the next 10 years, we're going to slide into the poor overall rating for our streets. I asked for an additional $1 million, but just because that's what we got this year, so I felt like that would give us a little bit of room to improve over our current score. But that would be, we are requesting an additional $1 million. Currently, we are funded with the vehicle tax that gives us a little over $800,000, and then we put a little bit of Powell bill funds toward that resurfacing contract each year. Next slide, please. This is for sidewalk maintenance. We're requesting $200,000. We used to get this annually for our sidewalk maintenance, and we used it to do sidewalk repairs on some of the larger volume streets. We used it to do Lancaster Avenue, walk up. We recently did Skyway in Windsor. So we just used that to put together a contract where we can maintain the existing sidewalks. There's still quite a few needs out there, so we're just asking for that to come back. Next slide. This is the Haines Street Streetscape project. This was generated through complaints. So we received a lot of complaints about the curb and gutter along Haines Street, and Haines Street is maintained by NCDOT. The curb and gutter is actually their responsibility. The sidewalk road is Monroe's responsibility. And what we have proposed, what we've done in the past where the curb and gutter is in poor condition, is we just propose to do a monolithic, and that basically will take out that old curb and it'll pour a new section of curb and sidewalk all in one piece. And there's no gutter pan, there's no concrete gutter pan, but the water would run along the asphalt and come up against the concrete curb. So that project is estimated at $1.1 million. That includes a design fee and construction. Next, we move on to personnel. We're requesting 2 street maintenance workers, 2 for our concrete crew. And basically we're trying to get back to what we were in 2011 when we had to downsize, a kind of a reduction in force. The concrete crew used to be 6 people, and that would allow them to function kind of independently on all of their jobs. If they work on any street that's not a purely residential street, and some of them that are residential, they require an additional 2 people to come help them to be able to control traffic while they're working on those streets. So that's just to make them more functional and try to get us back to our previous staff level. The next slide is kind of similar. It's for a street sign technician. We used to have 2 people in that street sign role. We have to pull a lot of people often for those sign installations too. If it gets to be a large sign like some of the Welcome to Monroe signs, that's a 2-person job. They also do all the barricades for all the events, and they do a lot of trimming for sight distance and when we get vegetation in the roadway. So it's very easy to keep that person very busy, and we would like to have that one back. The next one is for a new position, a stormwater program analyst. Stormwater continues to grow, so this would be a new position to assist with the CIP projects, administering all the consultant contracts, and assisting with the development and the management of our stormwater asset program overall. And then the next slide is for an administrative assistant for stormwater, fully dedicated to stormwater. They've continued to grow, and they generate a lot of correspondence through letters and notices of violations. And we are proposing a part-time position to start with, just to assist with all of that. So that's a part-time position that would be around $36,000 for the salary and $24,000 for the benefits. So I would say of all the 4 that were, that's probably the most needed, although all of them are. And that's pretty much all of engineering. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
This is Councilwoman James Sarah. 2 things for me. From East Franklin to Monroe High, there's no sidewalk there. Is that the city or is that the state?
Sidewalk is the
sunset.
Yeah, sidewalk is the responsibility of the city, no matter if it's on a state road or a city road. I believe we do have a project. We have a list of unfunded sidewalk requests, and that is one of them. It's in that list.
Okay.
Sarah, so go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, Councilwoman James. And then what about the one on Charles Street as well? Because that is dangerous. As I ride my bike, I see other people walking and exercising on that. There's no sidewalks on Charles Street.
I'm not sure that was included on the project list, but I will double check that. The reason it wouldn't have been was because of the DOT improvement that was planned there, and that actually did not come to fruition. They designed it, but they didn't decided not to build it. So I will look at that and see if we need to add that to the list. But again, that is an unfunded list. The $200,000 that we're asking for is for sidewalk maintenance, so it's just existing sidewalks. That's not funding any new projects. I think we have a list that's about 30-something projects long of new sidewalk requests.
Thank you so much, Sarah.
Thanks, Sarah. That was the clarification I was gonna ask, but you took care of it.
Yeah, Councilman Gordon here. Could I ask a question, Sarah? Could you return to
Sure.
that paving of streets? Was that an additional? So we typically have, I thought we pretty much typically always used the fund, sum of about 1 million for resurfacing. Is that not correct?
That is correct. This is an additional 1 million. So it would be a $2 million budget annually.
Yeah. Last year you got that. Is that correct?
We got the allocation. We got an extra million. Brian, you might have to help me out. When council awarded it recently, but the annual, it used to be a $1.3 million budget where the 300,000 has gone away. And now that was an annual allocation for resurfacing, but now I'm asking for $1 million to try to keep us on the same average pavement condition.
Basically, then that would be what you received last year.
This is
If we
Lisa
gave you
Strickland.
one and you got an additional one, you had 2 million in 21. So this would be just keeping it that level in 22. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay. And you mentioned the Powell bill funding in that area. Now, if memory serves me correct, we used to get something shy of $1 million, but that comes through from the state to the county and then to the city. Is that correct?
That is correct. And we only use about a little over 100,000 on this resurfacing contract. The rest of it goes toward personnel and material costs for the street division functions.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Lisa, can you clarify that million that they've gotten this year?
Yeah, the million is for this fiscal year 22, and it replaced the 300,000 that we were funding it at previously. That recurring money that we were infusing into the street department sunset at the end of last fiscal year. So we gave the $1 million this year with the intention of trying to build something recurring into the budget going forward in FY23 and forward.
Yeah. So with the additional million, if I'm reading the graph correctly, if we keep our current funding, we'd be at the bottom green. If we add it'd be the total of 1.9 million, that would kind of maintain at the blue level, correct, Sarah?
Correct.
And then if we go all out and fully fund to the rate, I guess that would take us to the top line, but that would require 3.6 million.
Correct.
Okay. So we're just looking to kind of maintain what we have today with this the additional million.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'll mention, I mean, that graph is based off industry trends. What we currently have been experiencing with these snowstorms, a freeze thaw cycle is horrible on the streets. So it could deteriorate at a quicker rate if we continue to get this type of weather.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because from just the recent events, if you're watching some of the deterioration on the streets now, I've already seen areas worsen in some places just from the thawing and freezing and the rain. Any other questions for Sarah, clarifications? Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
And that concludes our budget presentations for this evening. Mayor, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Brian, and thanks again to all the presenters for very concise, well-constructed proposals there. We appreciate your effort, time, and consideration on that. Is there any other comments or any other items that council would like to bring up at this time relating to what we've just gone over? If not, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Councilman Carr.
All right, Councilman
I
Carr. makes
second
a
that, Council.
And I think that was
Councilman
Julie's, Councilman Person Thompson seconded. All right.
Yes, sir.
I'll call
I
the roll.
second it.
Okay, got a motion and a second to adjourn. How do you vote, Mayor Pro Tem Anderson?
Yes.
Councilmember Gordon,
Yes.
Councilmember James,
Yes.
Councilmember Carr,
Yes.
Councilmember Kazai,
Yes.
Councilmember Thompson,
Yes.